myself sorted on this extremely small bench. Oh yeah. All right, what do I need? What do I need? Good morning, legends. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everyone is well. Let's get some light in from behind us. Maybe it's a beautiful day outside today, but we are inside. Just trying to get these cameras in a position so you can see what is going on, because we've got plenty of stuff to do today. Is that better? That's good. And that is good as well. Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, YouTube. We're just getting some stuff sorted here. Probably will talk to myself for the next 5 minutes. we have some things to cover. We've got some paint. We've got some glue. I hope everyone can hear what I'm saying. What's happening, boss man? Hello, Harris. Hello, hello, hello. Not much, my man. Just getting some stuff done. We're just getting some stuff done. I'm just hoping the cameras are in a good position so everyone can see. So, what are we doing today? What's on the agenda? First, I've got to fix this again. I've actually got to fix an item from Magnetic Racing that has arrived from Australia, but it isn't a little bit of a bad condition. So we're going to fix that. Happy Friday. Yes, it's Friday, mate. It's Friday. It is freezing here in Austria. I'm in Europe. It's a beautiful sunny day, but boy, is it cold. Winter is definitely just around the corner. So I'm going to quickly fix this, and then we're going to get into what we're going to try and tackle today, which is maybe a little bit of painting. And I want to try and build into, if you did join my stream the other day, we did have this big pits, which I'll bring into view. I'm just trying to get the YouTube camera working properly, because it's not really, the YouTube camera is not really the greatest. I only see one camera right now. Yeah, there's only one camera, mate. Only one camera. We've got YouTube and we've got TikTok. We've got two different cameras, but only one camera each. I'm running directly from the phone. So if you are wanting to know where the other camera is, there is no other camera. This is it. But I've got to quickly fix this because it has arrived and it is beautiful, but there's a fair bit of damage to it. And I think it's only going to take a little bit of glue, a little bit of hard yakka. It's a phone holder. So this was made for me personally by the boys at Magnetic a couple of years ago, I'd say, and it holds your phone in the back. So I'm just going to make sure that this is being fixed. And it looks like it only needed a bit of a push. So I'm going to put that aside and we'll recap what we went through the other day. We did build this magnificent piece of work, and I have an idea for it. Let me bring it into play. This guy here, we did build this. Good morning, TikTok. We did build this the other day. Hi for Malta. G'day, Malta. G'day, g'day, g'day. Cloudy in Japan, raining in Singapore for the F1. Yeah, I can't wait to watch the F1s. Yes, the F1s. So we got our pit box. We built this the other day. This was our live build. Pretty much finished it. There is a little bit of damage that I have to fix, which I have the piece. I did find it. It is right here. It is the smallest bit of wood that I'm going to glue back onto the handrail, which on this side here, don't know if you guys can see, but there is a bit of damage to this handrail, which I did this during pressing out the items. So just going to make sure that that fits first. And if it does, we're on to a winner. Yeah, it does fit. So I'm going to put that inside. So my goal for this guy is, I do have a white kit from NSR. It's not complete. Hello, Rianda on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. We do have a white kit here. This is a slot car. If you are watching, I've got TikTok and I've got YouTube both watching. This is a white kit slot car. It's not complete. I don't have the chassis for it. I'm going to see if I've actually got some parts and pieces to make it into a proper slot car. But I'm thinking I might make this into a showpiece for this build. So we've got underneath here, I'm going to let it lift up. We've got a garage section that's parked in here, and I'm thinking I might just maybe put a bit of a diorama with this guy inside, maybe damaged, because we don't have the complete white kit to fix that into a proper race car. So I think today we'll start building that, see what it takes to build. So I'm going to move this out of the way, because this will come into play later on. And I'm going to bring this guy into play, and I hope everyone can see that. I'm going to start getting the camera in nice and close. This one here. Hobbycrafts and chats. What was that? Oh, that's AI. Good old AI is helping me out. Thanks, AI. So let's have a quick look and see what's inside this white kit. It is a Lola T280 and T290. So we do have the white base. This is your shell. So we do have the shell, which is a great start if you actually want to make a slot car. That is a really good start. We do have the shell, but inside this little baggie of goodies, we've got a lot of stuff, which is why I'm gonna build it up as the white kit. But in here we have a bag of goodies. Hanoi FPV, thank you for the follow on TikTok. Cheers, mate. And there is a lot of stuff in here, so I'm going to get my little magnetic tray, which this stuff isn't magnetic, but it will keep a lot of it together. And we're going to sort of build it up as good as we can without gluing first. So let's get all our little parts into a tray, and then we can sort of go through it and see what is definitely needed straight away. What is that? That's a bit of rice. There's a bit of rice. There's a bit of rice. Don't worry about the rice. So let's get out the... Oh, that's stuck. Hold on. So we've got a little cockpit. Nice little blacked out cockpit. So that's going to go inside, obviously up and under. And the way you build these normally is you sort of melt the plastic so that sort of plastic welds itself. But we'll get to a point where we start doing that. But I want to see how this actually builds up. Now, it is a white kit. It should be painted. I don't think I'm going to paint it straight away. So let's keep going. Now, during the chat, please, you can raise anything. TikTok, people can join for battles, I think it's called. Also, raise any topics you want to talk about. I start the chat every time with a bit of who I am, why I do what I do. I like to make this chat open so people can feel comfortable. Hello, Sick Dog. Hello, mate. How are you on YouTube? Lots of mental health support too. If you guys want to talk anything mental health, I'm an ex-police officer, so you got any questions about what kind of stuff I may have seen as a police officer. I do have PTSD, so I do like talking about that. If people do get into mental health side of things, I'm happy to have a chat and I guess raise awareness, talk about how I'm going through it, which might help other people. And if you are on TikTok, you can jump in and have a chat as well. Thank you, Mason, for watching. I appreciate it. So what car is it? We are building the Lola T280-290 from NSR. It's not a full white kit, but the first thing I want to do is get stuck into sort of finding out where all the pieces go before I start actually plastic welding or melting or gluing what needs to go somewhere. And unfortunately, it looks like the camera from Sport Prototypo. What does that mean? Sport Prototypo. That's a question from YouTube. So we've got our backing here. So once we start building this up, you'll see this big jigsaw puzzle of a car will start working itself out. So let's start laying out what is needed from front to back. I'm not the best kit builder, I've got to be honest. I don't really build kits, but it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And whilst we are talking all things, everything, it's probably not a bad time to start learning together on how to do these things. But there is an order that this all has to go in, because some of these parts are going to be using the same, I guess you would say, locking positions. So if I can just start putting it in the way I think it goes. There is no instructions with this. I believe you can look up the website to get instructions, but we're not going to do that. We're going to raw dog it. Okay, so I can build this up off. There we go. So this little guy here has got some holes in its own little molding as well, this little rear section here. He said, sports prototype, just in the chat. Gotcha. A bit of Italian stallion. So we can build this. Let me see if I can turn you guys over here. If you are joining, we are building a white kit. This is a white kit. We are building up a slot car, which is going to be probably a model car. And I'll put in the background a bit of eye candy for some people. I'll put one over here and I'll put one over here so you guys can have some eye candy as well. So, where do we start? From the start, I guess. So let's start fitting in our steering wheel. So it should be painted. I'm not going to paint it. I want to build this off the actual mold itself and just leave it as is, and then we're going to put it into a diorama. But I don't want to start gluing anything until I know I've got it right. So I'm guessing that goes on the outside. Yep. So we've got our top of our engine goes on the outside. Can't be that hard. There's not too many pieces to it. Then we've got our roll cage, which should have its own locating holes. And as we get going, I'll show the close-ups of all of this. We do have our rear section, which this is going to be probably the most trickiest part to build. GT3 cars, yeah, the GT3 cars are incredible. Some of these model kits, assemblies, and part fitting. So AI is doing a lot of help for me there on TikTok. They're answering some questions. Thanks, AI. Now there is some parts here that I don't know where they go. We've got our man. Let's build him up quickly. And chassis-wise, I don't believe I have the chassis for it. I'm gonna have to go through all the parts and pieces to see if I do. I don't think I do though. So there's our little figure. I won't glue him into position because we will get him painted up in the future. If you have been watching my live streams, I am struggling to find hobby paint here in Europe, in Austria, I should say. So there's our little figure, our little driver. He's going to be sitting in position, ready to rock and roll. So he's going to go into, and I do have to apologize for YouTube. Your camera is really bad compared to good old TikTok. So he will then sit his little bum in the chair. Let's get rid of this. Now, when I build these kits up, I have got some plastic kits coming, some real car model kits, because I do want to start doing those builds live. So I'm going to be learning a lot of stuff that I used to, I guess, know how to do better. But I like to build the individual, I call them like pods. So we'll class this as a pod, a section. I like to build these up first, and then we'll attach them to the car at the end, instead of trying to build it onto the car. A lot of dry running as well. I'm going to do a lot of dry fitting, just to make sure everything goes in proper, because there's a lot of stuff in here that I honestly don't know where it's going to go. So I'm going to be a bit cautious on some of this. So let's start building up this rear section as well, because I honestly don't know where a lot of it goes. And this is going to be the rear housing of the gearbox, as well as, so that goes there. Do we have any pins on this one? We do have some pins. They must be upside down, and that must go like that. There is some pins on this one, but they're not lining up with the holes that I thought they would. Why is that? Why is that? Okay, let's leave that there for a tick, because I don't know where that's going. We've got a, what is that? You're probably going to hear that a lot. What is that? Oh, that goes on top. That's going to be our air scoops. That goes on top of the motor. Beautiful. And let's take the roll cage out for a tick. Beautiful. And they'll just glue into spot there. Let's put the roll cage back in, and I'll quickly show you what I'm up to. So this is the rear end section. I'll show you TikTok first. We've got our little rear end going, so the motor is being put in position with the roll cage, the roll hoop, and then you get some of the engine cover tops. And for good old YouTube as well, you can see here, we've got ourselves all the top components done. Mirrors, we do have some mirrors in here somewhere. It's going to be these guys right here. So let's get these off their little locating tabs. And that should fit right in there. So how is everyone going? People on YouTube, what's going on? What's new? Also TikTok, how's everyone going on TikTok? There should be a windshield, which I can see right there. That's the windshield. The windshield would then plug in. So that goes in like that. And then we've got our headlight surrounds, which potentially are going to be an issue. I think they need to be glued on properly. Yep. Which they've got lights as well. Ooh, this is a pretty full kit. This is a very full kit. So let's get rid of that. We've got some parts and pieces here, which I don't know what they are. Looks like we've got a gear stick. Do we have a gear stick in this? I can't see a spot. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we've got a gear stick locator. And then we've got some other parts. What's the back for? Rear spoiler can go on. It's a beautiful car though. Rear spoiler drops in like so. And we're missing two sections here. We've got indicators and lights. We know where they go. Well, hopefully. Which I'm guessing they're going to be plugged into this little rear end section here. Which I cannot figure out where a lot of that goes just yet. There's no holes on the back. Okay. Working dog, g'day mate, hello, hope you're well. I hope everyone's day is going well. Where does this go? We've got ourselves a little bit of a blackout section. So that's going to go on top of the engine, because that's going to be the top of your cylinders. So these are going to be the breathers. I really need to get the camera nice and close for this, I think. Actually, can I actually zoom in? Or let me zoom in. There we go, we can zoom in. Okay, so YouTube's nicely zoomed in. And can we zoom in on TikTok? Oh, we can't. Why can't we zoom in? Oh, we can. And then TikTok will also zoom in on you guys as well. There we go. We're freaking zoomed in. We're zoomed right in. So, here we go. This is what we're working on. We have now built the rear section up. Now I need tweezers and I keep forgetting to bring them up. So I'm going to use a hobby knife, if I know where I've put it, and just use the tip of the hobby knife to start lifting things up. I actually do have tweezers. I don't know where I've put them. I do need them because this is a tweezers job. But let me just quickly get out a razor. Let's use this one here. I'm going to use the tip of the razor just to move some things around. I'm not going to use it to cut, which is what it's normally for. But we're going to use it to just lift some things into position, like this little cylinder head here. Oh, I don't want to touch that because I'm going to pop that out. I've got fat little fingers, so they're not doing the greatest to help support. Right, that drops in. So they all should be painted. I'm still considering, I mean, I don't have an airbrush. I don't have paints, so it's a little bit hard for me to paint all this up. I do want to paint it, but maybe we just glue them all into position and then I'll just do a full spray at the end. So there we go, we've popped in the top of our cylinder heads. The part that I'm struggling with is this rear part here, this bottom part. Josh with the question marks. Did you ask? Hey mate, are you the ex-police officer? I think I was watching you. Yes, I am, mate. Yes, I am. I am an ex-police officer. Again, for those that are joining, feel free to ask any questions. Yes, I am a retired police officer, early retired, I should say. I didn't want to retire, but I'm a retired police officer, and feel free to ask any questions. So I figured out where the beautiful little lights go up the back here, which they're going to be melted into position. So I've got to actually look up a picture before we do that, because it's going to be definitely indicators on the outside, I'm going to guess. And this is where it gets a little bit fidgety. Indicators on the outside, like so. And then you should melt the back of these into position. Look how small this stuff is. Why did you retire? Give me 2 seconds, I'll answer that. I can't believe they haven't found that thing yet. What are they finding, mate? Thanks for the follow, Spaceman. So what am I building? I'm building an NSR slot car kit, which could also be used as a model car. If you don't know what slot cars are, I'll zoom out soon and show you guys some slot cars. But we are building this little guy to try and get a diorama started. If you haven't followed my lives yet on TikTok and or YouTube, they've been live streamed on YouTube as well, so you can actually go back and watch them. We've been building a lot of racetrack buildings, and we're sort of building up a bit of a diorama. If you're interested in going to rewatch those on YouTube, feel free to go in there. So I'm getting these lights the wrong friggin' way, aren't I? Why did I retire? In a nutshell, I think I was exposed to too much. I saw too much, and by the end of it, it was for me. It was probably game over. PTSD is a bit of a weird one. I'm 41 years old, and throughout my whole entire life, I didn't really struggle with mental health. But it was only the last that I recognised it, the last couple of years of the police force, where my wife highlighted that I was struggling, and I didn't know I was. It's a pretty scary thing, PTSD. I never really looked at mental health properly because I never really had mental health prior. I didn't think I did, sorry, that's probably the wrong words. I didn't think I had mental health issues, but unfortunately, I don't know if I'm doing that right. We're going to Google a photo before I glue those into position though, but they're the rear lights. I'll quickly show whilst I'm talking. So we've got the rear lights happening in here. You can see we've got indicators, brakes. So we're building up that rear end section. So yeah, unfortunately I got pretty sick mentally, to the point where I couldn't go to work, and then unfortunately after asking for help and all the rest of it, I kind of got left in the dust, and the only way to, I guess, move on was to move out of the police force. And yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I do say this every time I do a live stream, that people ask me about my position, why I'm retired at the age I am, which I'm too young to retire. I definitely am, but I think with the right help, anyone can overcome what they're doing. But I unfortunately didn't get the right help at the right time, and now we're sort of doing this in front of the camera with you guys helps, and I'm starting to share what I do daily, because every day is a struggle. And I want to quickly put out there before I go any further, let me just zoom out a little bit for TikTok because you guys are really close. I'm not a practitioner, but what I'm using to deal with daily is helping me to the point where, I can get up and do this kind of thing for a certain amount of time before it becomes a bit too much. So, I thought, why not start sharing the story, start talking about it. Unfortunately, there is a hidden issue to mental health behind retired police. The AI just picked up on what I'm talking about on TikTok and changed the chat to retired police officer chat. Friggin' AI is crazy. And I'll read the comments in a tick. Do I need that? Yeah, I do need this. So I'm going to break this off. So I'm now in the phase of my life after dealing with this for the last few years where I've sort of got the attitude of I don't give a shit now in regards to speaking out. I've got a bit of strength now to start talking about it, because behind all the mental health stuff, which everyone has issues, everyone struggles, and I want people to recognize that. Just because I'm talking about my issues, it doesn't mean it's bigger or better than yours, vice versa. We all have something going on, and unfortunately it doesn't go recognized enough. It could be small, it could be big, but it's your problem, it's your issue, and that's what matters the most. So what I thought about doing during these streams, whether I'm building Lego or I'm building a model car or I'm painting, we can start chatting about this stuff, start recognizing some things. Guys in the chat and girls in the chat, if you want to raise some of your issues, of course, keep it all professional to the point where we're sort of supportive, not, I guess, trying to one-up each other, because that's where I think a lot of people turn away from mental health, because everyone has something wrong with them, which is true. But then you don't want to be the one that cries wolf all the time, which is, I think there's a bit of a stigma behind mental health in that instance. But a cry for help definitely needs to be listened to. That's one thing I've learned during my journey. I hate using that word. My journey. It feels like I'm an American Idol. My journey's been the best. But, it is what it is. So I don't think this has indicators. I think I've done something really wrong here. I don't think it has indicators. Let me quickly see if people are... My dad had the same thing up to 26 years in the army. Oh yeah, mate, definitely. The army would. The army has a. How did I explain this the other day? The army would be tough if you're definitely deployed. Whether even watching battle videos, like that kind of stuff can get to you. Everyone, like PTSD can come in waves. You don't have to be frontline. You don't have to be in a job where you're fighting every day. That's to me, that's a bit of a bullshit syndrome. It definitely comes in all shapes and sizes. Excuse me about the burp. But I think being in the army would have another level once you've been deployed. The way I kind of explain what a general police officer goes through in Australia, I can only speak on behalf of Australia because that is what I know. It's pretty terrifying, and it's pretty, how do I say, unreal what some police officers see daily, and you wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it. And I'm still surprised, and the reason I'm doing this because I get reached out to by other coppers, police officers in Australia a lot still. Trav, I'm doing this. Can you give me a hand with this? Because I've been through the process, and it's still surprising how much is still happening. It's pretty sickening, actually, how much out there these people have to see daily, and it goes unheard. And there's no support. There's no support around it. So my chats are around, frontline workers. If you want to know or ask any questions about, what a police officer may see or do, even some of the processes that we go through in Australia. I mean, I'm freely allowed to talk about it. I'm not a cop anymore. Of course, I won't give away any friggin' secrets. That's not my mission. My mission is to spread awareness and help my brothers and sisters who are still in the job. I can't figure out this back section. Sorry if I'm rambling on. Hats off to you. I do feel for our first responders, especially paramedics. Paramedics would see a lot, and I don't. This message on a tick. I've got YouTube and TikTok going, guys. So I've spotted a. there's some friggin' losers out there on YouTube. We've got a message which has been held. I've spotted and it starts with V. I won't say what it is, but if you can imagine someone that hasn't made love before, YouTube has hidden that message, and that must have been some wanker that's watching me build a slot car and probably thinks I'm some kind of guy that's not married with a beautiful wife and kid, which I am. All right, so let's keep going. I say hats off to them all. Still doing it now. Definitely, there is a kind of person that you need to be to do that. A lot of people do join the job that aren't ready for it, and unfortunately, a lot of people left a lot earlier than me because it can get quite horrific. to the point where it's a little bit unbelievable. I cannot figure out this rear end section. And that is quite alarming. It can get to the point where it does feel very unreal. Some of the stuff that you have to see and do is shocking. It's shocking. And there is some sick people out there, I won't lie. There's a lot of sick people out there. A lot of sick people. And when I mean sick, they just do some real dumb shit. Just there's definitely walks of life out there that you wouldn't believe existed, but they do. So I cannot figure out this other section. We've got this down pat. I know where all this goes. I think it's not lining up anymore. I did know where all this goes. So we're building the rear end section of a Lola T70. How good is that message? What a wanker. Okay, so that's been gone. That's gone. So we are building up this rear end section, but I am losing track of where everything goes, to be honest. So that goes here, that goes here. I like to dry run this stuff first before I start gluing, because once you glue, it's over. Okay, so that goes. This fitted easily before, now it's not. I'm going to get rid of those lights because we're about to lose them. We're about to lose them. We're going to lose them. All right, so I'm going to start gluing some stuff together because I think I'm at a point where some of this can be glued. I'm sorry if I've touched on a subject. Feel free to tell me. No, mate, no. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. Not enough people talk about it. That is my idea of this. We need to talk about it. I've got my own ways of dealing with it. I don't see a psychiatrist anymore. I did take medication for a while, which I don't think I'd ever do again. It didn't work for me, but for some people it definitely does work. For me, it made me feel a little bit out of control. It made me feel not like myself. It was a little bit scary, to be honest. And of course, with all the health issues like weight gain and all the rest of it, it kind of made me start feeling a little bit worse than I could manage when I wasn't on medication. So I don't take medication for it. There's a bit of an issue with that. I can talk about the insurance side of it. I'm still covered by some kind of insurance. What I mean by that is because I left the job early, there is some kind of benefit I get from retiring, but unfortunately the system that controls that is really unfair, and because I don't at the moment get professional help in that instance, so when it comes to seeing a doctor or taking medication, which I have done, and it clearly didn't work for me to the point where it was quite dangerous, is that right or is that wrong? There's a tall one and a small one. I think I've got something wrong here. I can't get extra support because I'm not doing the stuff that they want me to do, which is a bit crazy. How do I put this without, I guess, being politically incorrect or rude to the point where it sounds like I'm being, what's the word I would say? I'm just trying to think. Bitter. I'm not bitter. But definitely the right help isn't out there at the moment in Australia for people in my situation. Definitely isn't. To be forced to take medication and to see a psychiatrist, which I've seen multiple in my time, and to be honest, it kind of felt like I knew as much as they did. I mean, when you do frontline policing, you kind of do a bit of mental health awareness. Of course you do. I was a sergeant, so I was at a rank where I started managing people's welfare, which I actually miss doing that. It sounds quite ironic that I am now no longer in the job, but one of my roles was to make sure the members were safe. I do miss that part of it. That did help me, I think, mentally. But to be forced to take medication and to do that kind of stuff, I don't agree with. I hate they do try and push the medication. Look, I'm big on natural stuff. I'm very big on, I think if something natural works for you, I've tried ashwagandha. I'm not a hippie. I'm not that, I'm not a person that kind of hugs a tree, but I would definitely always look outside the square. I mean, today's medication does have a role, and please, if you are watching this, which is not many people, which is great because it's probably bad advice, don't outrule medication because it actually might work for you. So that's not the message I'm spreading there. It is the fact that it is the standard. You kind of have to take it. I'm actually going through a complaint process at the moment, which hopefully these chats do assist spreading the word, but also hopefully these companies, and I'm talking Australia, understand that people like myself are a bit fed up, or we're a bit over it. Like, friggin' hell, how many hoops do you have to jump through before you got to start being looked at seriously? So I'm actually going through a complaint process at the moment where I'm challenging those ideas. Hello, OLED. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. We're building a Lola whilst talking mental health again today. We can talk anything, but some people have raised some questions about me being an ex-police officer. So, of course, I'm always happy to talk about that, as we all should. But we're now talking medication / the policy and process to get help. So the way that I sort of went out in the job, my story, when I did go off sick in Australia, there is a process you have to follow through work cover. And I finally went off sick, meaning I'm not returning to work for a certain time until I get the right help. And to be honest, I never got the right help. And that was where the process sort of started to go down. And I would actually go out on a limb and say my mental health got worse because dealing with that process itself, which is not easy. I mean, if you've got someone who's mentally challenging at that moment, I couldn't even, you can't even do your own job, let alone decide what the outcome of your future should be. You shouldn't be dealing with all these second-rate ideas and options that in a real person's mind at the time wouldn't know what to decide to do. So why would you ask someone who's struggling with mental health all these complex questions and ideas? And that's where I kind of saw the system fall down a lot. CBD oil works better for me than any pills ever. I mean, look, I don't do drugs. I barely drink. I go to the gym every day. I try and keep fit. Gym is definitely a medicine for me. Gym is incredible. Gym is one of the things I'll say. I don't care if you want to get big and strong and muscly and ripped, but I think keeping your body active, movement, whether it's going for a walk, oh, I've spilled some glue. That's going to look shit. It's okay. We'll fix that. Definitely, there's definitely other ways to tackle it. But CBD oil, I've heard good things about it. I've never really tried it. Ashwagandha, I take a pre-workout before gym. I've always found I just dropped something. A pre-workout helps me. It's got a lot of stuff in it that gets the body ticking, gets the blood flowing. I find that is definitely something that helps me get prepared. But like everyone else, there is days where you just sit back and go, I can't do it today. I can't do it. But doing this and talking at the same time is definitely a medicine. Definitely medicine. So we'll get this roll cage in, and I think it's as far as I can go when it comes to building this up, because the reason I say that, I don't know how to build the back section up. I do not know how, but it's a beautiful looking little car. It will have a chassis underneath it. Natural endorphins, yes, I agree. Is that a Coing seat? No, we are building a Lola. This is a Lola. Hey, Lola. We are building a Lola. We've got the little man. He's ready to go into his little pod. We've got, this is a white kit, so it should have been painted. I will probably spray it with one color, but I will zoom out so everyone can see. We are going to then eventually, let me zoom you guys out too. We are going to eventually build it into this thing, which is a pit box. So we built this during the week. This is a 2-story 124/132 pit box, and this is where we're going to try and complete our little Lola, which will be sitting inside of our, I guess, parking bay, and it'll be up on stilts, I think. Hello, Bo. Hope you're well, mates. Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're well, mate. We are doing some building and some painting. We will get into some painting soon. Just want to make sure that everyone can see that, because I've got to zoom it out. Yeah, you guys can. So that is it there. There we go. And I think TikTok can see it too. Not that anyone's watching. Cheers, TikTok, for the ones that are watching. So yeah, we are building our Lola into this beautiful building. Let me move that aside. And we'll keep going with the Lola, because we've got a couple of things we've got to finish off. Should have been painted first, but I don't do it that way. I like to make things harder for myself. Now, I don't know, and if someone is in the chat who can quickly Google it, because I'm using both my phones, we've got, do we have red lights at the front of this, or do they have orange lights at the front of this? Because I've got 3 sets of red lights. I know this car should not have indicators, so I'm guessing the lights in the front of this will be orange. That's a guess. Oh, we didn't put the window in, hold on. Yeah, but natural endorphins, yeah, definitely. So let's get some more glue on these little tibbies here. There we go. I was meant to go get some Lego today. I want to build a new Bugatti, so that'll probably be my next live stream. Building the Bugatti. 12. What does 12 mean? Hello, Mark Smith. KF, how old are you? I am 41. I am 41. I'm guessing the next question is, why are you playing with toy cars? I'm guessing. I'm going to guess. Let's see what he says. 41, mate. 41 years old. Getting very old. It's 12. KF, 12. I get it now. Hold on, here we go. Hello, B-Rads. I get it now. Someone see they are struggling to find Desi. Yeah, they are. I did say this. I actually did a live stream 2 weeks ago, and a fair few people did ask me about the Desi. So I reckon we talk about that because I have my own opinions and ideas. I have been in positions where I've gone to a job similar to that, where it is a search warrant. You know, you've got control of a certain amount of people. And normally the way a search warrant works in Victoria Police, I can speak on behalf of this because I have done them as a sergeant and as a police officer in Victoria Police. Normally with a search warrant, definitely when there is a search warrant, I'm guessing it was for evidence. I can't remember if it was for evidence or for arrest. You might have to remind me, chat, but I think it was for evidence, which is a search warrant to attend the property and seize items. Now, to get a search warrant isn't that easy. It's not that easy. You have to prove to a magistrate via an affidavit for search warrant that you have enough evidence to suggest what you are searching for in that house will potentially support the investigation and bring an arrest to the offender and to assist the victim. So there's a couple of criteria that you have to tick off when trying to conduct a search warrant and to get that search warrant up. And unfortunately, the process to get a search warrant can take some time, can take hours, can take days, depending on the situation. So if that one was a search and seize, what that means is you're going to have police officers, which we'll talk about that in a tick, how many, what the structure looks like, what the background of... thank you, mate. Thanks for the subscribe. What's your shoe size? What's my shoe size? 10. 10, I think. We're getting personal now. What's my favourite colour? Green. Favourite number? 7. So the search warrant itself, some comments in this live were filtered. Do what makes you happy. Bloody oath, mate. Bloody oath. Let me see. So a comment was... Okay. Yeah, so talking about the Desi situation, who hasn't been found yet, there's a lot of conspiracies that he was shot at the time. There's always conspiracies. I mean, I'm a big believer in some conspiracies, but when it comes to this one, I can tell you now he wasn't shot or killed. Definitely not at the time. And we'll get into myths in a minute. Myth busting, meaning some people have said police should have done this, this, and this. So the way the search warrant works is they would have applied to the magistrate to get the search warrant up, which would have been accepted, and that's normally done by detectives, CIU, or CI, we call them in Australia, in Melbourne, and the CI would have applied for it, got it, and then they've gone to the address to do a search warrant. Now, how a search warrant works, and I'll talk about the warrant itself, and it should be still policy now, policy procedure, it normally works in the way that you're only searching for what is in that search warrant. So if we know the laptop is in the bedroom, you're directly going to the bedroom to seize that laptop. Now, if you find anything that's illegal on the way to that, which of course there's lots of things that could be illegal, then that's when the search warrant becomes a little bit more open. But realistically, you're going to that address to find exactly what you've requested to be allowed to find. That's how a search warrant works normally in Australia, in Melbourne. I can't speak in the other states because their policies do change. I cannot figure this bloody thing out. So let me just quickly see if I can figure this out whilst I talk a little bit more shit. Where is the hole for that? There should be a hole for this gearbox because it's got to go in. That's the rear of the gearbox. So it has to go in. I don't know what this is doing. Because that's the back casing of the gearbox. I'm doing something completely wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. It all comes down to this. So that's how the search warrant would have looked. Now we're going to talk... I figured it out. Look at that. This way. That's how it goes. That is sick. So I'm now building up the rear shroud, and I think I've got it. So stop helping, everyone. There you go. That's how it goes. So that little section here goes inside. I believe he's in a cave. casual chat about CBD, endorphins, and search warrants. So AI has updated my chat again on TikTok. I subscribe to you. Thank you, Mark. My birthday is coming up October 12th. Wow, awesome. Well done, mate. Happy birthday for October 12th. So that's what the search warrant does. So they've gone to the address. Now, how do you prepare for a search warrant? Well, this can change dramatically, but how would I prepare for a search warrant with my troops at the time? Simply, the most easiest way to go about it is to explain, I should say, to non-police. Why is that? No, something's wrong here. Something's not right here. Why is that doing that? Was that doing that? Sorry, chat. I'm just trying to figure this out. Why this is not going in the way it should. It's missing a hole. Is it? Yeah, it is. It's missing a hole. Shit. It goes like that and like that. There we go. Figured it out. So, way a search warrant would do if I was conducting one, which is, I believe, what happened with that search warrant, is... Sorry, I'm just trying to get this in. Once I get this in, I'll be able to give you my full attention. So that's how it's built up. That is it right there. Josh is laughing. We have built it up. So I'm going to glue all that together. So the way the search warrant is, so if I was conducting it, you need a safety sergeant, which is a sergeant who's completely separate to the search warrant. He's just there to make sure everything is safe at the rank of a sergeant, so sergeant or above. You also need a sergeant to assist with the execution of a search warrant. You have members in support, so depending on what the property is, you'll have a certain amount of members, and I believe they said they had about 10 members there in total. I believe that's what the member count was. I can't officially say that I know, but I believe that's how many there was. It was 10 or whatever members in attendance, which I believe they would have had that same structure. Safety sergeant to help assist with the execution, blah, 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 blah. Plain clothes, in uniform, it all depends on who's on roster at the time. Detective would definitely be in there. I think it would have been what's called SOCIT, which is the Sexual Crimes Police. I believe it was on the news, it stated that this was all for sexual offences. So they would have been either there in attendance or notified. I guess they would have been there because it should be their job. And there'll be a lot of other police in presence. Now, being rural, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and I do feel sorry for the members because this is where it gets a little bit hard to... Bye, Mark. See you, mate. Have a good day. I was laughing at the AI. Yes. The AI. Shit. So the way the search warrant then would have worked... So what was I talking about? Sorry. I've lost my train of thought now. So how to prepare for the search warrant. We'll get to where I think you went in a minute. So they prepared for the search warrant. They should have done some, I would say, realestate.com checks. That's what I normally do. It looked like he lived in a caravan, so that's very hard because they don't normally list those for sale easily enough for everyone to see. So there would be no real game plan of what the actual address looked like. So normally if you go to a house, I would always do a realestate.com check on the house just to know the layout, because I want to know what I'm sending my members into. So if they're going to a house with the high fence, when was it last sold? What did it look like previously? Has there been any renovations to it? That's the kind of lengths that I went to before conducting any search warrant on any house. Any arrest warrant as well, if it was going to be in my position, that's how I did to conduct it. So you go to realestate.com, all the different avenues where they could have sold the house, and worst case scenario, if it's a real bad offender, you would then go to the magistrates and try and get a warrant to get information regarding to the house itself. So you'd then have to go to the council and apply for the Section 32, which gives you the land, all that kind of stuff. And that's really pushing it when you want to get the layout of the house, which covers two things. It shows you where you need to cover off. That's a main thing with my search warrants, with the crews that I'm with. You want to know where you're going to position your men. You also want to know the area. So where's the closest road for highway patrol? For if the offender runs, where do I set up a canine? Do I need a helicopter? Is it easy to get to? That's the outside. Also, if you're going to play with specialist crews, you need to know the north, south, east, and west of the house, so you can then start giving colours. I won't get too far into that because that's more of a procedure. But colours mean a lot when you start doing a house cordon. Once you get the search warrant, does it only last for a certain day or... good question. Blew my door down for absolutely no reason. Anyone that posts bickies, I will not watch. What's bickies? Bickies. Anyone that posts bickies. What's bickies? Yo, Jaden, what's your mission? Jade, let me have a quick look. There's got some... Jaden. Well, YouTube brought me to a white guy teaching people stuff after black people... I love these people. Oh, what a loser. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the message. I appreciate it. Jason Hale on YouTube. If you guys are on TikTok, go follow me on YouTube. We've got some really good questions here. Jason, can you put in, if you don't mind, put in the comment why they came to your house in the first place, and then I can probably give you an insight. But let me know, because a lot of people say, oh, they gave me a ticket for no reason, oh, they shot me or whatever. Let me know, because I like to get to the bottom of that for you in a chat here. So if you want to say something like that, please put in the comments, why would they attend to your house in the first place? What was the reason for them attending? Because it's very hard for me to believe that anyone, whether it's police or friggin', I don't care who it is, attends someone's address and kicks their door in for no reason, which I shouldn't be laughing, but you're going to laugh at that. It's not good, but why? Why have they come to your house? Let me know. Let me know, please. I can't figure out where the rest of this stuff goes, to be honest. There's a couple of things missing here, and I don't know where they go. I can see we've got some little parts and pieces. I want to see what this other dickhead says. YouTube algorithm is as bad as how I spell. I can't spell algorithm. I'm with you, mate. Oh, shit. I love people. I love them. Oh, shit. I don't know what's happened here. So we're missing, so I can't finish that off. So I'm just going to leave this for this for this. I'm going to put this going quickly and see how he fits. I was going to wait to see if that person answers that question. And I love these chats. I love talking about this stuff. Okay, that fits really nice. So we've got the man in there. He's going to be sitting in there now. Once you get the search warrant. Time-wise, I'll answer that one now. Depends. I can't remember officially off the back of my head. There is definitely a time frame. It's not open-ended. A search warrant is not forever. It could be 7 days, because with a search warrant, what needs to happen next is once you've conducted the search warrant, you then have to fill out the search warrant to return it, and then you have to compile the evidence gathering. So you have to give photos, you have to document what you've taken from the address, what the outcome was, bit of a narrative, and then it's going to be submitted back to the magistrate so they can decide if it's keepable, if you can actually keep these items. So that's another couple of things that people don't really know. And it's not really I wouldn't say it's a secret, but it's definitely something that police have to consider once they do a search warrant, if they can keep the items that they've kept, if that makes sense. Let's see if there's any questions there. I mean, if you came to arrest me and I wasn't home, surely you don't... No, they're definitely not. Definitely not. No, that's correct. If you don't execute the search warrant at the time, so the magistrate will... Again, I can't remember. I mean, if I had my computer up and running, I could Google this straight away for you, which a lot of people could. A lot of this is open for people to Google. A lot of this information can be sourced by the public. When how long does a search warrant last? Blah, 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 blah. So it's not giving away secrets. I can't finish the rest of this off because I honestly don't know how to do the back of this. But no, if they haven't executed the search warrant, there will be a time limit where they have to. There definitely will be. And then they can apply to the magistrate afterwards. If it's going to be something that takes a lot of time, you'll then get an arrest warrant, I believe, issued after a certain amount of time. So that can sit forever. An arrest warrant can sit for a long time, forever, really, depending on what the crime is. But from memory, without looking it all up again, and I haven't been in the job for over 3 years, I think that should be cut off. I don't believe that they should be there. I'm going to cut these off because I don't think they should. Well, maybe they should be there. What the hell is that? I'm trying to figure out what these little dots are at the back. Okay, so here we go. YouTube, it was for drugs, but they caught me with like a gram of weed. They thought I was selling heroin. RC Builds, no, we are building a slot car. Okay, so and Jason, can I please say, mate, thank you for commenting, because you don't have to, and I do appreciate that, so it's a good thing to comment on, and I can give you my thoughts. So talk me through it, and be honest if you can. I'm guessing you said you were arrested, because it was a gram of, I was arrested, but they caught me with a gram of weed. They thought I was selling heroin. I was like, depending on firstly, where are you from? If you are from Melbourne, Australia, if you are from Australia, I can kind of understand the law a lot better. I don't know about America. But if you're caught with an amount of a drug, there is reasons for them to seize your phone. There is reasons for them to seize other items, and obviously search your car, your vehicle, whatever you were in at the time, straight away. So if you're definitely caught with something, there is an opportunity for them to then search. So what I'm getting at now is, though, my question now would be, I think I've done the wrong thing here, guys. I think I have. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, I definitely have. Yep. Because that's meant to go there. Oh, no, you're an idiot. Yeah, I've done the wrong thing. Have I? I'm going to answer that. Just give me 2 secs. I think I've stuffed this back up. That's all right. We'll put that aside for now. Put that aside, I'm going to start doing some painting whilst I'm waiting for this all to sort itself out. Yeah, so I need more context. It was drugs. That says it all, Jason. Yeah, look, I understand. America. Oh, mate, I couldn't tell you. I don't know the American law. I know Melbourne, good enough to talk on behalf of it. Hello, Bopper. Hello, mate. I hope you're well on TikTok. I know enough. But America, I don't know your laws, man. And you've got states, and it all changes. I don't know. Look, California, it's legal to have a certain amount of drugs on you. So I don't know. So back to Desi, our man Desi. Where is he? A lot of people are still asking, where he is, what happened. And I'm here to sort of, I won't say myth bust, but sort of give context around what could have happened and what probably did happen. So you got your search warrant. You're now wanting to conduct that search warrant. So you got your team together. We've spoken about all that. If you are just joining TikTok and YouTube, you can go back through the chat and find out what we spoke about. And the next step is the next step you've got to think about now is obviously then doing the search warrant. So now you're at the address. This is what I believe has happened. They're at the address. They're about to kick the door in. I think they did kick the door in, and then he's opened fire. That's what I believe that I've seen. I don't know any behind the scenes. Well, I know a little bit, but I don't know enough to speculate. But I believe that's what's happened. They've kicked the door in, and at the same time of doing that, he's opened fire and shot 2 of them. So completely just gone bang, bang, bang. Which, if I'm going to be honest, there's no chance. That's game over. So those officers unfortunately got shot, and then the other officers would have taken cover. A lot of people said, oh, why didn't they run in, start shooting? You don't know what's going on. I mean, you would not know what's going on. You would know something's just happened. You would have heard a gunshot. You would have taken cover, which you're trained to do, so then you can assess the situation. And, I had training I had more training than the normal officer because of the squad I was in, but the basic training is take cover, assess what's going on, and then take action. So that's what would have happened. These officers would have went to ground. Unfortunately, these 2 other officers would have been shot and left. They're already dead, and he would have had time to get away. Now, the issue I see here, I don't know what the pre-work up was. What I mean by that is I don't know what he knew was going to happen before it happened. I don't know if he was actually aware that there was a search warrant being applied for. I don't know what information he would have had prior to them arriving, conversations, interactions. I don't know. And that does play a big part in what the next steps he took would have been. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, because he's a sovereign citizen, which they are very, I wouldn't say normally dangerous, but they are very dangerous people, to the fact that they don't believe in law. They believe in, being free of any law. And of course we need law to keep order. If it's not abused. And the dangerous thing about that is, depending on how unhinged you are and how far disconnected you are from, I guess you would say, reality, is how far this person will take it to the point of saying, I don't believe you're even wearing a uniform. And that's exactly what's happened here. This guy did not believe in the uniform, did not believe in the law itself, and he would have been, in his own mind, not saying he's psycho or mentally ill in that instance, but because of his beliefs around the law, being a sovereign citizen, I imagined, in my opinion, he would have believed that these people weren't even police. He didn't see them as police. He knew they were, but he didn't see them as that. So the respect of that part of it goes out the window. I mean, normally none of us would want to take them on because a normal person wouldn't do that. Like, why? What's the point? Why are you fighting with them? Secondly, you're obviously being investigated for something that's quite serious. You'd try and, I don't know, a normal person wouldn't do what he did, hence why it doesn't happen every day. So he would have had enough time to get away. The police have come under a bit of fire from the public saying, why didn't they rush for their aid? Why? You don't. Like, you can't. As soon as gunfights are happening, you don't run in blindly, because firstly, you got to be able to save yourself before you save someone else. And to make sure that you're safe, you got to take cover, then assess it. Then the second thing would have been, where's the risk? The risk would have now been gone because they wouldn't have heard any more gunfight. They would have been still cautious, but the next thing would be to run to give aid. He's got away, okay, he might be still inside, blah, blah, blah. The next thing is, let's get these people some help. And clearly, help is what they needed, but it wouldn't have helped anyways. You could clearly understand what's happened next. So that's what would have went through the officers' heads. That's the steps that they would have taken. Take cover, assess the scene. Once the scene is safe to move, let's go get these guys some help. Now, depending on how many police were there and the setup and the pre-checks and everything else, you may have had someone doing traffic down the road. You may not have. In this instance, I would say no. It would be a very basic search warrant, because there wouldn't have been, I don't believe, any information that this would have gone down. And you can never judge for this. Like, this could happen randomly, which it kind of did. But again, I don't know what interactions this guy had with police before, but my opinion. See you later, Jace. Have a good one. Too many IRS all messed up. Yeah, I'm not too sure about the American side of it, guys. I don't get into the American side of it. Policing's different everywhere. And I'm a big believer of, if you're not there, you don't really know what happened. And that's where, I wouldn't say trust, but that's where a lot of, I don't believe something I don't see until I kind of understand what's gone down. And I'm just responding to some questions here on YouTube. So with the American side of stuff, I couldn't tell you. I don't understand their law, and it changes dramatically from state to state. So I won't get into that side of it. I'll just speak on behalf of what I know our guys and girls would probably do. I guess, of course, this is all my opinion only. As an ex-police officer, this is what I would thought would have gone down. So he's got away. He's run off. They would have given aid, and then, of course, at the same time, it would have been called in as what's happened, and then that's when everything starts ramping up. I would say this kind of person, and I said this on my first live stream, this kind of person would have already had a contingency plan. He was very well equipped off land, meaning he was always the kind of person who would go outback, jungle, camping. You do find that a lot with the sovereign citizens. A lot of them do know how to look after themselves outside of the grid, if you'll call it. So he would have always had what I would say is a go bag. It would be a plan, a bag ready to go. So that's sort of the back foot that the police would have had. We don't have that information about him. We don't expect that to happen. I mean, of course, you always expect something, but this is a bit random. But in his thoughts, and again, my opinion, he would have already had this day in his head potentially happening. I wouldn't say it was planned, but this day would have come if he was never stopped, because it's just how he was working. That's how I believe it happened the way it did, and it does come across very random. It looks like it was provoked. I think some people think the police did something wrong. I honestly don't believe that. Even though I'm an ex-police, I don't believe that. It's because of I'm building a character rapport on this guy, and who he is and what he believes in is why it happened the way it did, and why he is still at large, because he'll be very, very, I guess, well connected in that community. And remember, If you're in that community, there is no respect across the board for law, and he'll be getting assistance. He would probably have a dig out somewhere. I don't know if he's left the state. It's possible he's left the state. I don't know how you'd prove that right now. I wouldn't rule that out, but I also wouldn't rule out that he's definitely well hidden somewhere, and he'll probably live off the land a lot longer than you and I could. So that's what I believe went down. Yeah, there's definitely body cam. There'll be all that kind of stuff. That's standard. That's been standard for many years. Once we got the body cams, as a sergeant, what I expect and what is needed, this has to happen at every turn of event. We expect the members to turn on their cameras with an interaction of the public. Whether it's kept or not, it then gets lodged in a way that after the shift, they will log their camera. So they will then put their camera into a logging setup, almost like charging your radio. And then they'll upload all the data to a portal, and that's where it will be managed by the members and also lots of other high-ranking police, which have access to it 24/7. And then it gets listed and audited numerous times. And if it's not needed at all, depending on what it's listed as and verified as, it then will definitely disappear after a certain amount of time. This kind of evidence / recording will never go away. It will be saved forever. So that's what would have happened. Why haven't we seen any of that? Because there's an active investigation, and I don't believe the public needs to see that. I don't think it's any position of the public, unless someone does a freedom of information application, which anyone can do that, which you won't get that up right now because it's still an active open investigation with an offender at large. Then you'll be able to request to see the footage via the public stream once it's all said and done. That's how you'd get it. So a lot of people are like, oh, they would have had cameras on. Just show us it so we saw what happens, and it disregards all these people saying there was some wrongdoing. You won't see the footage, not right now. And I don't believe you should. Do I believe anything was wrong? No. Looking at the story as a whole, it's definitely gone down the way that this person wanted it to go down. And unfortunately, you can't prepare for that. I don't care how much training anyone has, including myself, you will never be able to prepare just for that. I mean, how do you know? How do you know? I mean, if you treat, and this is where it gets a bit tricky as well. A lot of people say, oh, you should have known because he's this, and this. That's when it becomes a little bit robotic. A lot of people aren't happy normally how police, attend to certain people. If you want police to be ready for everything, it'd be very robotic. They will just talk to you like they will talk to everyone else. It'd be a one approach fits all. So a standard road intercept, a vehicle intercept, will then be handled with a firearm out. You don't want that. And that's what I'm proud of to say with the policing in Australia. You don't get that. You don't get gun drawn as they approach the vehicle just to speak with you. And that's what will happen if people want a same approach. Meaning, if they want them to be prepared for anything, that's how they're going to have to approach every situation, because how then do you judge? How then do you know what you're walking into? So it is a very bad thing, but I'm still happy that there is a soft side to it, meaning you still can approach a vehicle for an intercept without worrying about drawing your firearm. There's enough training that they get, sort of. The standard policing, I think, needs more training, but there is enough training to understand how to approach that when it happens, if you do have to draw your firearm. But of course, you can never have enough training. But that's my thoughts on it. Where is he? I don't know. I would still think he's still in the same state. If not, he's definitely moved to a more rural state, maybe heading closer to NT, that kind of way. But I honestly don't know. Sorry about the PTSD. Hopefully it gets easier to handle some serious stuff. No, look, it is what it is. You deal with it daily. So I'll see if there's any questions on there. Oh, TikTok has asked me to do something. Drag the puzzle into place. Oh, come on, TikTok. I think I'm a robot. Okay, done. Is it true He tried to arrest a bailiff and magistrate years ago. Drug law discussions. Look at AI. AI is going crazy. But they believe in receiving. Surely now they can seize all and. Hi, Papa. Yeah, I guess so. They could now. Definitely. If you've done it, but I don't know what that's going to do. Someone on TikTok just asked, could they now seize everything? Oh, bloody oath they could. That gives. I mean, he'll be on a very high list. He'll be listed at the airport. So you have border control. They'll be well aware of it. It'll probably make it his way as far as to certain countries as well. They would be notified just in case he's a flight risk, which he is. But I can't see how he will get out of the country. I definitely can't see how he will get out of the country. That's definitely something that would be very, very hard for him right now to do. To get out of the country, but the amount of the web, how far and wide it will be spread now, will be huge. He wouldn't have many places to go, which is why I would say he knows he'll be staying where he knows, because you wouldn't want to, in this situation, you wouldn't want to be going somewhere where you're not familiar, and that's the first thing I will be looking at as a person searching. Was okay, he's been to ground now for a fair few weeks. You wouldn't want to be somewhere where you don't know. Unfamiliar, so it's got to be somewhere familiar to him. Now, the person who's asked about seizing all the rest of the stuff, that's definitely already happened. And I dare say they'll be canvassing everything they need to do to see what his normal movements were. I will be looking at where does he normally stay. Now, has he kept a diary? Some people don't. I mean, I don't keep a diary. I mean, my memories serves me pretty well, but that's the kind of stuff I believe he would be doing now. Because you wouldn't want to be in unfamiliar territory. No chance. Why would you? You'd be on the back foot. So he'd be somewhere that he knows very well, and hopefully they figure that out very soon. Is he a threat to other people? I've thought about this question a fair few times myself. Definitely. Like if you've done what he's done, I wouldn't want to approach if you haven't got the skill or any means to. You don't need to. That's just alert police or whatever. I wouldn't approach the guy. So I would definitely say, yeah, of course, doing what he's done, is he capable of doing it again? Well, people do get desperate once they know they've sort of backed themselves into an unforgiving wall, a wall that won't sort of go easy on you now. Once you get caught, you're going to go away for a very long time. So yeah, I wouldn't be approaching him. I would be definitely staying right out of the way of the investigation side of it. This is the worst paint. Look at this, is like chalk. Shipping container shipped to leave the country. What was that? Awful. What are you doing today? We're just making. We're painting. We're making a car. We're painting. Shipping container. It'd be very hard. That'd be very hard. That's it's very TV like. I do see a lot of comments around like CSI and all that kind of stuff. The shipping container trick isn't very easy. You are in international waters, so it can get quite dangerous. Probably more dangerous out there than it is here, depending on which shipping container you jump into. Remember, a lot of these shipping containers go through a radar system as well, X-ray and heat. So that it has happened. I think it was, what's his name? Who was the guy who escaped to Greece? That was 15 years ago, maybe even more. But remember, technology moves very fast. So a lot of the ways that these containers are now checked, the process is a lot quicker and a lot safer and a lot more efficient. So I can't see a shipping container. I would never say never. That's one thing. I think a bad investigator will rule out everything. A good investigator will keep an open mind. So I wouldn't rule that out, but it wouldn't be high on my priority because that stuff would have been listed at the time of this all happening. The word getting out to all of the connecting forces, I guess you'll say, whether it's border, visa, all that kind of stuff, dockers, the docks, all that kind of stuff would have been notified instantly. Like they would have been known within hours, just to keep that lookout. So I don't know, I couldn't see that happening. Private boat, yeah, you got a good chance. I mean, the waters are pretty big, but I would say depending on where you're going to dock, depends on how they, I guess, receive you, because any person coming from another country without the right way is looked at as an illegal alien. So they may not know what you've done and who you are, but I guarantee you won't be walking through pretty easily. They'll be checking you up straight away. So I don't know. It's you never say never. That's one thing. As an ex-investigator, I wouldn't say I would rule that out, because I think if you rule anything out, you're kind of selling yourself short. Because it could actually happen. It could happen. But my gut feeling would be he's in the backyard somewhere. And what I mean by that is our backyard, Australia. He's out there. Needs to be stopped though. It's pretty sickening of what's going on. But other than that's my thoughts on Desi. For those that did ask, painting a car and shipping a container. This AI thing is killing me. How are we going on? It's an F1 rule on tobacco. Hold on, tick. Oh yeah, I almost broke something. What's going on here? What? Wait, you know Marlboro brand? Their brand in F1 and use a barcode? I hate that YouTube does not let you click and go to people's channels. Oh, won't let you. I'm still making progress to get Red Bull's livery. Got a Motorola IndyCar RC30. Oh, that's a good one. Not sure if I have anything with Red Bull. Imagine you have a whole set of drivers' cars with it. F1. Do you have Red Bull? Are you putting on primer? No, I'm not putting on primer. I do have an RC. I have the Ferrari one. Oh, that's a good. Have you ever had an RC? Sorry about the PSC. Have it gets easier to handle something. Okay, I'm up to date. I think it's bad because of kids are watching it and the thought of cigarette brand. Yeah, but I don't think you can. What my big thing, and now we're talking cigarette brands because we are painting a cigarette brand. And I might just actually quickly stop TikTok because I'm about to jump off. So thank you, TikTok. Cheers, legends. I'm just going to stop the TikTok one. And just keep the YouTube one going. Hey, shut up, TikTok. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I don't smoke. I've never smoked. It's not my hobby. I couldn't afford to smoke, to be honest. I don't know how people do. But I don't think you should erase that. It's a part of history in racing that wouldn't let us race today if that never happened. What I mean by that is, if Marlboro, if Camel, Benson and Hedges, all the big brands didn't get into racing, a lot of these teams that you know of today would not be around. And that's my honest opinion. I think if we didn't let the alcohol branding, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, there's some stuff on there that today that shouldn't be on there. I mean, crypto and gambling and all that kind of like that, they're now sponsors. And of course cigarettes kills, but also you got to remember, if you get heavily into gambling, you might gamble away all your family's life savings. So there's a lot of things there that still are present on cars that you could put in the same category as smoking. But I would never erase it. I don't think it should be erased. I love seeing these vintage / historic liveries. I think that's one reason I still watch racing, because when they do like a flashback livery or something, I enjoy seeing that. I think in today's day and age, education will cover a lot of, I believe, decision making for kids. I mean, no one really portrays smoking as cool anymore. If you look at the old days with James Dean and all the rest of it, it was very cool to smoke. Now you don't see that. So I think there's enough education out there to know to make a decision. That's my opinion. Hello, Slotcar Heaven. Hi. I forgot you. Right, so I haven't primed these. I'm actually testing out this paint on these smaller ones to see how it goes. To be honest, I've got a primer. It's really bad. The paint here that I've found in Austria is really bad. It's not the greatest stuff. So I'm just sort of working with what I got. Let's bring our car back in, finish the car build off, and then I think I've got another 5 minutes and I'll wrap it up. So we're building up. All good, mate. So here we go. We've got our Lola. I don't know if it should be an orange light on the front. Oh, I can actually Google it now. Hold on. Almost choked on me. Chocolate bar. Right, I'm going to Google the Lola. Where do I put the box? Lola T280. Bit of paper. I don't know what colour the lights were. It says clear, but I don't have clear. Now, I know they won't have indicators. Here we go. Let me check this out. I'm just going to quickly check out a video. Oh, yeah. I love my DIECAST. So I'm just trying to figure out what the rear looks like. So it's all red lights at the back. Oh, hold on, was that an indicator? I just want to make sure I get this right. Because we do have to do the back lights. And I don't know. It says clear, but I don't have clear lights. I didn't get clear lights with the box. So I'm not quite sure where the clear comes into it. Did I lose something? No. There might be another. I'm just going to see the back of it. Lola. Oh yeah, I can't see the back of it. So I'm guessing I should have some clear lights for it, but I don't have them. They're not in the kit. So look at this. They're not in the kit. So I don't have the clear lights. I do have the indicators and everything else around the back. But I don't have the clear lights. So we've got the chassis, that's fine, everything's fine. Yeah, that's, I'm just looking at some pictures of it now. Yeah, we don't have the clear lights. It actually has clear lights, but that must be part of, I'm guessing, the good old shell. I'm just looking at a video just to see. What the back looks like. Because we do have 3 sets of lights here that I need to sort out. Yeah, it's clear lights, so I don't have those. Excuse me, not part of the kit. Not part of the kit. Which it might be in here. I've got a heap of stuff over here, but I have to go through all of that because I don't have the kit. So I can't finish it, legends. I cannot finish it. Which is not good. Just going to quickly see the rear of it because I want to try and fix the rear off. But I can't find anyone that's showed a video of it or a build video of these. But I am trying to find it, so bear with me. Bear with me. Yeah, it didn't. There's definitely, I've emptied the complete box and I honestly can't see it. We've got the clear covers, but I honestly don't have the clear inserts. We've got the indicators and the brake lights, which go on the back. We've got all those. That should be 1, 2, 3, yep, with indicator. But it doesn't have what I'm looking for. I'm trying to get through this white kit build as a channel that I'm watching right now. I've never seen this channel before, but I can't see it. All right, well, I can't get that finished, guys. So cheers, thanks for watching, guys. I have to shoot off now. I'm going to have some lunch. I hope you all have a great day. Have a safe day and into the weekend. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers, legends. Bye.